So it's late night fabrication. Got this piece bent. This is probably the last big piece of this puzzle. And I'll probably make this all one piece that will fill in right here. The other thing I have to do is make these tabs, because I have a ton of wheel clearance, like way more wheel clearance than I thought. So this turbo will end up being kind of tilted out. I threw the front wheel on, it just kind of makes me feel better. And then you can kind of see the air box really coming together, how the general setup will go. This will come around and go in, and I have a generic, this is called, I think, a Genesis clamp. It's like basically a generic Wiggins clamp. So that will end up being, if you can kind of picture, coming out here, sneaking right back the radiator, and doing a nice tuck right in there. Hey peeps, I actually got my selfie stick back from my aunt in Canada, so I'm selfie sticking it. I'll try and get a little better cinematography going on with this. Today, rather than fuck around with turbo shit, because later today I have to go look at a truck, so I got a little bit of time right now. What I'm going to do is start working on getting this clutch cover on, and then getting the oil pan on right here. So I think first order of business today is I'm going to cut the spacer for this bolt, and that is where this thing goes on. So hopefully you can see that's an 8mm bolt, or 8mm Allen head, and that's what will turn my pin pump. But what I have to do now is cut a spacer that is going to be the correct length. So I'm going to take my mic out. I'm going to have to put the selfie stick down, take that correct measurement, and then what I'll end up doing is cutting that on the lathe out of this 6061 aluminum. I'll bore a hole down the center, and then I will cut it to the correct length and get this part going. I also have to find the O-ring that goes on here and that attaches to the cover. That's pretty simple. Another thing that I'm going to work on machining while I'm downstairs is I cut these, I guess you could call them biscuits, off the piece of aluminum, and they're going to end up being the fasteners, because what I do is I run a bolt through here, and then I have aluminum tab. These will be machined, so picture how these look now, and then when you see them later they'll look a lot different, but they're basically going to be, there's going to be a hole drilled and tapped on the end here. I'll face this off on the mill and clean it up, and then this will be welded to here, and that strap will bolt right on here and hold the intake manifold down. So I'll get these done, and I'll get that spacer done this morning. I finalized how the cover of the intake manifold will go. I ended up straightening out this part, so this is a little straighter, a little bit more of a 90, which lifted this up, and then I put a bend right here, as you can see, so it gave me a little bit more room. So when the air comes off the intercooler core, it has a little bit more room to disperse in the air box and go in to the plenum. Micrometer, and you plan on working on turbo bikes, I suggest you figure out how. And what I can show you real quick is this is 0.910, so 910 thousandths, so 9/10 of an inch. I'm gonna make it a scotch longer so that if I need to adjust it, I can just throw it on the lathe and turn it down a little bit. But I'm gonna start with a little longer spacer, because it's easier to take metal off than it is to put some on. This is my favorite. Fuck, I should have cut this on the bandsaw. Flatten the faces off. Then I'm going to drill the hole. Then I'm going to go back and do my length correction. So it's just to get the face flat. As usual, I'm like, you know, a novice apprentice machinist. No one's teaching me how to do this stuff. And if you can see the cut on this side, it's kind of wavy. It's not really flat. Well, all of a sudden I realized that there's the, this thing kind of moves when you're doing a cross cut. This thing can still move backwards. And there's this thing called, hey, look at, it's even labeled, the cross feed lock. So I locked that down into place. Made it cut super smooth. So I'll reface the other side after I drill the hole, and this thing will pretty much be done. So I got the top welded on. That's the holes that I'm going to have to end up using. Well, I don't have to end up using, I could weld different fittings on, but that's the holes. So I'm figuring out different ways to route it. Gotta just close this up. I have a good idea of how I want to finish the lower part. Tomorrow, actually it's gonna be Friday, I'm gonna tackle this header. I'd like to get the header done Friday, get it all welded up. That'd be freaking sweet. And then I could start working on the exhaust out and the up pipe, which I don't think is gonna be that long. I like welding up pipes. The other thing I got, and I'll cut some video in, is for my grinder. I finished the small wheel attachment, so that will really help. Just built this arm. I had ordered these. This is a 1-inch wheel on it right now. I'm just checking the tracking. It seems fairly decent. I'm running about 550 RPM. So this will help a lot with building the header. I'll be able to form the shape the pipe with this, and then when I do my trellis rear tail section, aluminum tail section, so that'll work out for fitting all the pipe. All right, later. The oil pan on, that fit really good, actually really good. I'm going to be able to really piss slam the front, and I'm kind of envisioning being able to, I'm starting to be able to envision how the bottom water tank is going to go. It's going to be something like this, and in line with this all the way back to here, and then kind of enclosed. And I'm thinking that it'll hold about 2 gallons of water. And I have 2 large aluminum fittings, so I'll be able to stuff ice in from both sides. And I think I'll have the drain maybe here. I'm not sure how it's going to go yet, but the tube is going to go somewhat down here and come out right around here. And I have lots of room up here, so I'll probably put 2 water fittings. And as I said earlier, the water pump's going to fit in right here. I might even weld in some fittings on the yeah, I really don't know how I'm going to do that yet. So first things first, I got to get the header done. Friday. I'll go get all the rest of the fittings I need for my oil lines and my fuel. This filter is going to get moved here, like I said. So I'll have 2 90 degrees on the end and 1 straight fitting. The center will be the return that will end up going around here. This will be the supply from the tank, which has the pump in it, and that will be routed to about here. And then you'll have the fuel filter, and then right into the fuel rail. Someone had asked me about the fuel rail setup, and this is a dead end setup. It's the stock fuel rail, 650 cc secondary injectors. The fuel comes from the fuel filter into the first fuel rail and then feeds in the second fuel rail, and then the fuel pressure is relieved through the second chamber and goes back into the fuel tank. Oh yeah, and I got my aluminum spacer. Just gotta tighten this bolt. Fits on, will work good. I have 2 pin pumps. I don't know which one I'm gonna use, whether I'm gonna use the rebuilt actual pin pump or the solid brass pump. I'll use one of the two. One of the other ones I'm going to sell. And then this is the bottom part for the intercooler. So it'll sit in kind of like this.
Yeah, it's not doing it. You know, keep it up at 20.
Oh, keep it. We're gonna blow it up.
Watching your sons That sounds like an alerts. Yeah.